Good morning. I'm Father Doug Jeffers, back with you here on Coffee with the Callers, and I'm here with
Father James Misko.
And we're together this morning talking about Lent. Find ourselves in the season of Lent this morning.
We're 3 days in, Padre, and I'm still got a little bit of ashes under my fingernail
ashes.
here. I imposed some serious ashes on people on Wednesday. And it takes a couple of days to get it out of your thumb. If you're a priest, putting ashes on people over 5 masses, and all the other people coming to the door asking for ashes.
Asking for ashes all the time. So today we'd talk a little bit about the kind of spiritual and personal side of Lent, in terms of there's the practice of giving something up for Lent, or taking on some extra penance during Lent, and so we thought we'd talk a little bit about that this morning. I guess classically the three works of Lent are prayer and fasting and almsgiving, and I think you can think about those three as repairing in different ways the damage that's done by sin. When we sin, we harm our relationship with God, and prayer helps us to repair that relationship and to be in his presence and focus on getting into right relationship with him. And of course, sin also harms our relationship with our brothers and sisters, and almsgiving works at setting that right and putting us into a generous and loving relationship. And then finally, sin hurts our relationship with ourselves. It sets something wrong within us, and fasting is an attempt to try to set that right again and reintroduce order and discipline, within our own souls. So as we're thinking about the external kind of activity of Lent, we're also thinking about what's going on inside us during Lent and how we're being made pure. Father James, what's some of the things that you think about as we're approaching Lent here?
I've decided, as I do every year, I'll be giving up gelato for Lent this year. I'm a big fan of gelato. The reason I like gelato is because it's made with milk and it's not whipped as much as the ice cream is. And so with each bite, you get a much more robust flavor profile of the gelato. That's why I'm a gelato fan, for one. So I generally have a ramekin of gelato in the evenings when I get home from work. You've probably seen me scoop myself out a ramekin.
I've seen it.
And so I'll be giving that up for Lent. I enjoy it pretty much every night. So for these 7 weeks, I'll be foregoing my evening gelato. So what I do whenever I give something up is I establish how many pints of gelato would I go through over a 7-week period. Now, generally speaking, I usually go through about a pint and a half of gelato a week.
Okay.
So they're about $4 a pint. So let's call that $6 a week times 7 weeks. That's $42. So for me, not only do I give up the gelato that I enjoy, but also I take the money that I would have spent on the gelato and I give it to the poor. I either put it in the Ashes to Easter boxes, or I put it in the second Sunday of the month social ministries collection. So for me, I kind of tie in this idea of almsgiving as well as giving something up into one devotion.
Yeah.
Another thing that's really important for Lent, of course, is the fasting. As you mentioned, it's one of the 3 pillars of a Holy Lent. And so what I think about when I consider fasting is I think about what Mother Theresa said. We empty ourselves, not because we want to be miserable. We empty ourselves because we want to make space for God in our lives. So that's really what fasting is all about. You go without, not because God wants you to be upset. You go without because God wants room to be with you in life and to walk this journey with you. So I think that's a beautiful thing. Father, why don't you kind of remind us about some of the, rubrical particulars about like fasting or about abstaining. How would someone establish the proper way to abstain on a Friday during Lent?
Yeah. So the part of Lent is that we all are doing penance together. And so because of that, the church's law asks us to fast and abstain together during Lent. So the days of abstinence during Lent are Ash Wednesday and all the Fridays of Lent. And on those days, we don't eat meat. So we would have our meals be without meat on those days. And then the 2 days of fasting during Lent are on Ash Wednesday and Good Friday. And on those days, the church asks us to fast, which is to take only one meal that day. And then maybe a little bit of food at a couple of other times during the day. So both of those things, we're reducing the quantity of food and the quality of the food that we eat during Lent, and that makes us hungry a little bit.
Sure.
We feel the pain a little bit. But as you said, it's not about that we want to be miserable. That hunger and that pain means that we're going to refuse for a moment to be satisfied with the things of the world so that we can seek after the things of heaven. So really there's a joyful aspect of fasting, all mixed in.
Absolutely. So I hope some of these insights that Father Doug and I have shared with you this morning will help you to have a holy Lent. God bless.